Okay, so I keep looking at myself in my camera, like taking like pics, trying to like get the lighting and everything done. And every time I see these bright red lips, I be like, Sugar Avery is coming to town. And I really hate that for me that like I associate red lips with Suge Avery. Although she's one of my favorite characters. Anyway, hey fam, what's good with you? I am in the studio laying tracks for the Storytelling Institute's upcoming cohort, pre-memoir workshops and lectures, and yeah, just doing all of the things. So super excited about how all of that is going. And but I wanted to just hop on to say a couple of things. So few months ago, I went in for a dental procedure. And whenever you go for your dental procedures, they check your blood pressure. Well, it was there that my pressure was like super elevated. Like the dental assistant, as she's taking it, like she said, "Ooh," like she said that, and then she says, "Well, are you taking meds?" I was like, "Well, yeah, I'm on meds. Like it's supposed to be regulating, it's not regulating it." And so they would always come back with, "Well, we have elevated anxieties when we're doing dental procedures, but you need to go in and see that." So I had an appointment scheduled for my physician in Raleigh when I returned to North Carolina in September. Well, now we're in September, and so I was like, okay, I'll do that. But I was like, I need to get this like looked at, sooner. Didn't want to put it off. So wanted to see a black female medical practitioner. Got some recommendations, and finally, booked the appointment. And what was fascinating was that my good on paper plan was to be able to have a conversation with someone that I didn't have to like explain, she'd almost be able to finish my sentences. That was my highest hopes. And so when we got to start talking about body mass index, and she's looking at the charts and looking at my number. FYI, I threw my scale away like over 20 years ago. I was like, listen, if my clothes still fit, I'm good actually. If they start, loosening up or tightening up, then I'll know I got a problem. But on record, I've only, I've been at the same weight, give or take 5 pounds one way or the other for the past 5 years. And also my favorite pair of, or one of my favorite pair of short shorts that I bought incidentally or coincidentally for, I think it was a 2005 or 2006 Congressional Black Caucus. The bad boys still fit. Hello, 20 years later. So I feel like I'm all right, in terms of that. But she's looking at this chart, and the chart is saying that my ideal weight is elsewhere, right? And so I'm looking at her like, sis, you do realize. And then I didn't even need to finish that. She's like, I know. And then she started talking about her own BMI, and now, like they said, it was supposed to be this particular thing. And, just the cultural, not biases, but just like the cultural ignorance, I guess, concerning all of that. We were like, okay, they own some bullshit. But then we began to discuss my anxiety. And I began to tell her about a lot of the things that, like, so many of us are dealing with. It's like just shit, life. Life on life's terms. Like, life be lifing. And black women are always figuring it out, like trying to do the thing. But I really was hoping that being with her, I wouldn't have to like say certain things, that we would continue this sort of whole relationship where she would finish my sentences. But that's not what happened. What happened was she began to look at these metrics and to say that perhaps it would benefit me to be on an anxiety pill. And so I said to her, I was like, okay, well, tell me the side effects. And she began to name all of the side effects, one of them being suicidal ideation. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, sis, so you want to prescribe something for me to fight anxiety, only for one of the side effects being that I want to unalive myself? Really? And she was like, well, according to the charts, you should be this. I was like, well, what if I just flew back to California and got a medical marijuana card, got me some, some good weed? Would that be beneficial? And then she looked up and she was like, well, do you smoke? I was like, well, not now, but if you feel like I need to. It was the goofiest conversation. I'm like, what the devil? Are you serious? But I realized that one of the ways in which she and I were not aligned is how we see and do systems. You see, although when we were discussing BMI, the body mass index, we agreed that they were on some bullshit concerning, black bodies. Somehow, with everything that's going on, she believed their metrics for my mental health and my mental well-being. And I'm like, sis, you're not listening. you're not listening. If what you want is to get me tethered to something that's going to have me thinking about unaliving myself, when a lot of my anxiety is, like, even on record, it's situational. I just didn't know what to do with that. But I do know to trust my intuition, to listen to my life, to be able to say, all skin folk, ain't kinfolk. And people who won't listen, as we're doing the thing. Well, I just realized that there's somebody behind me. I have to figure out how to blur them out. Or maybe I'll just let them be. You know what? I think there it is. Bam. Part of the way that I have decided that all will be well is when I simply let everything be what it's going to be. I am in my studio, and the studio happens to be a part of the public library that is close to where I am currently living. And the librarian happens to be reshelving books right behind me. I tried lighting systems, I did all of that, and what I have decided is that my peace is multiplied when I simply just let everything be what it's going to be. And maybe I'll fly to California and get some weed. I don't know. I really don't smoke, and I don't have an interest in it. But I do intend to live on both sides of eternity well. And so when you think of me, lift your girl up, life is lifing, but in very big and meaningful ways, and in a lot of good ways. And so it's like I'm, creating some waves, and then I'm riding them. Pray that you're doing the same. Hey, fam. Blessings to you.